Grizz, a full court press of highlights, insights, news, and scoops covering the Grizzlies and the NBA. Catch up each week on the latest Grizz buzz with regional and national insiders locked in on our squad. Running point from Grind City Media Studios, our host, Jarvis Greer.
Hey guys, you can see out on the plaza there here at 191 Beale Street. They got the bandstand set up. They are ready for Game 3 of the playoffs right here in Mempho Daddy on Thursday night, 8:30. The Grizzlies will play Game 3 against the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round of the NBA playoff series right here in Memphis at FedEx Forum. Hey man, we still got more series to go. I know that what happened in OKC wasn't the greatest, but still got 2 games to go right here in Memphis, so we'll see what happens. To talk about everything NBA playoffs and about the Grizzlies and the Thunder, we, as always, have an illustrious panel right here in our studios at 191 Beale Street for Grind City Media. To my immediate left, we got Avery Braxton from ABC 24. See, he's all looking springy today. You ready? Did you fly a kite out there today
I do feel pretty springy. You know, I didn't want to wear the green glasses today, but I couldn't find my other ones. So,
okay.
I had to get 20/20 vision because I'm trying to look into the future here for this Grizzlies series. You know
That's what we got to do. Also joining us here in studio is the big dog himself, Matt Enfield from Action News 5. And Matt, you know, you and Doc have been going back and forth on this. Doc Holliday at Action News 5, and Doc is still in OKC, and you've been covering the series from here. And yeah, man, it's still a series. They say series doesn't start until the road team wins
a game.
So let's see what happens here in Memphis when that gets started.
I gotta say, I like the fit. You know, Easter Sunday was 3 days ago, though, right?
Oh, yeah, you know, I did know. But, you know, I praise my Lord and Savior every day, so it doesn't really matter.
Fair enough.
Well, I mean, you know, maybe he's got a couple of Easter eggs in there, hiding them out from the public.
You got candy?
Check the pockets.
You know, he's got the eggs.
You got some Reese's eggs?
In case anybody's wondering. And, of course, joining us, as always, the guru of Grind City Media himself. He is still in Oklahoma City, where he's trying to pick the splinters out from what happened between the Grizzlies and the Thunder. We got the guru of Grind City Media himself, the great Michael Wallace, as my grandson would say. You're just outside Paycom Center, and I guess the results are still the same from where your vantage point is right now. Michael Wallace.
The Grizzlies get a chance to go back home. And, you know, again, Game 3 will be the biggest game that the Grizzlies will play this season. I'm looking forward to getting back right after this show so I can get ready for Game 3 right there alongside you guys.
Yeah, and I hope they didn't leave behind, you know, say, hey, look, we're shedding weight here.
Get back on the plane, man.
Mike, come on, we need you here, man. But, hey, let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and get into it. Of course, the Grizzlies are down 0-2 in this series. The Thunder won the first game by 51. The Grizzlies have held below 100 points in consecutive games for the first time this season. The first time this season, back-to-back below 100. I think that's close to a record, if not a record. The Thunder converted 39 Grizzlies turnovers into 49 points in this series, and the Grizzlies have only, I think, scored about 8 on fast break points. It's 45-8 in fast break. So the Thunder have really had it going their way in OKC at Paycom. And the Thunder's won 11 straight against the Grizz, the last 6 by double figures. And if you want to count the whole league they've beaten by double figures. And you can just see Matt Enfield, the way that they have played the Thunder, they just overwhelm you from the start with their defense and their length. And they find ways to get to the bucket, and they find ways to get people open. And if they get a steal, it is lights out. They take off, and they are gone.
They are the best defensive team I've seen in the league this year by miles. And I've tried to drive this point home multiple times in my sportscasts over the weekend or whatnot. All-time great teams only become all-time great teams after they hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. So we'll see where we grade this Thunder team in 6 to 8 weeks or whatever. But when you look at the best point per game differential in the regular season in NBA history, the second best net rating of any team in a regular season in NBA history, if they win a championship, which I think that them and the Celtics are probably the 2 co-favorites, we're going to look back at this team as an all-time great team. Maybe not the 96 Bulls or one of the, the Steph and KD Warriors teams, but probably a tier below that. And I think that what we have seen so far in this series, especially in their building, has been as much about how dominant and how great of a team they are on both ends of the floor as it is anything with the Grizzlies. Now, the Grizzlies need to play better for sure to give themselves a chance, but This is a juggernaut. There's no way around it.
Yeah, and Avery, you got to look at Avery Braxton for ABC 24. The way that the Thunder plays is that they overwhelm you with their length and their athleticism. And it seems like their second unit, when they come in, they could probably win a round in the NBA play because they do not have a drop-off.
Yeah, I think when you look at the Grizzlies, their big three, I would say, and you look at the top 5 players in this series, I think the Grizzlies have 3 of the top 5, right? But when you look at the surrounding cast that OKC has alongside Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and J-Dub, I just think what OKC has been able to build there in their surrounding cast is really what's overwhelming the Grizzlies, because I think we saw it more in Game 1 than Game 2, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander still hasn't exploded in this series, right? He hasn't had
shout
one
out
of his,
to Scottie Pippen Jr.
Yeah, shout out to Scottie Pippen Jr. for
the
defense that he's played. But when you have the arguably the MVP of the league in this series who still hasn't had an incredible game yet, I think that is a really scary thing to think about if you are a Grizzlies fan, because once Shai kind of gets going, then it may really feel lights out. I think for that Game 2, what really happened there was the Grizzlies were getting good looks in the beginning. They couldn't hit, and OKC started slow as well. But once OKC started rolling and Memphis still couldn't find their footing early on in that first quarter, that's really where it kind of ended before it got started.
And Michael Wallace, you're there in Oklahoma City. You are at Paycom Arena, and that place does get crazy. Now, they are like the Stepford fans because they all come in the same T-shirts, and they all look alike, basically, and they are told what to do, and they do it. Shout out to them. But that's a raucous arena when that team gets rolling, and that can be add a little bit to the intimidation factor.
It does. I mean, this is one of the best home environments that we've had in the league in a long time. This fan base supports this team, whether they're rebuilding, whether they're in the lottery, or whether they're going for NBA championships. This is the second time I've been here with their best teams. I mean, I was back here in 2011 covering the Miami Heat, with ESPN when, that big 3 Miami team played Oklahoma City with KD, Russ, and James Harden, and this place was electric. And now you fast forward almost 15 years later, they have another championship quality team here, and they're coming out and supporting. The unique thing about this series so far, though, and it's going to be the case through the first 4 games, is that all the start times are all drastically different. The Grizzlies played at noon on Game 1. They played at 6:30 last night. There's an 8:30 late tip on Game 3, and then there's a 2:30 tip on Game 4. So it's like you can never get your body adjusted to the clock when it comes to this series. But that's where the fan base comes into play right now. And the Grizzlies are going to be relying on their home fan base to match or exceed what Oklahoma City did from their fan base perspective.
Yeah, that's right. The game here is at 8:30 coming up for the Grizzlies in Game 3 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But, you mentioned how it's really difficult on the body and everything. That was 36 hours between their play-in game and then having to go and play that early noon game at Oklahoma City in Game 1. We saw how that ended, disaster. And then they come back and they play much more like themselves, except for the beginning of the game, 0 for 10, 1 for 13. It could not hit a shot. And if they could have put a little bit of pressure on Oklahoma City in that beginning, not saying that they could have won the game, but it may have been gone a little bit deeper before the Thunder started their run to victory. And when you look at it, you're trying to maximize the big 3 here: Ja, Dez, and Jaren. Ja, Dez, and Jaren. Ja is 25 years old. Jaren's 25 years old. Dez is 26. You could have this core, if you want to keep this core for a good while, and, a couple of years, they'll just be 28, just getting into their prime. But taking inventory on the big 3, you see that Ja, Tripp, and Bane, they've tallied 66 of the team's 99 points. So, okay, yeah, that sounds good. But the core 3 is also combined for 14 turnovers and just shooting 37.2% from the field, and that is credit to Oklahoma City's defense, and they're the best in the league at what they do. This group is seeking its first playoff victory together since, April 26th of 2023. That was against the Lakers in Game 5 at FedEx Forum. And, this group has got to show that they are to believe that if they want to stay together, they're going to have to show something here going forward to give the front office and the fans confidence that these are the guys that can get this done going forward.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I think what we've seen so far, especially hearing from GM Zach Kleiman, is that this core 3 is what they want to build around. This core 3 is what what he believes they should build around, right? But as of right now, you need this core three to go win you a playoff game or two, so you still have the belief that they can get it done.
And let's see what they say about themselves. We had a chance to talk to them after the last game. Here, take a listen.
What did you guys find in that third quarter? It seemed like the third quarter was the best quarter you guys have played in the series.
I feel like we got a little more flow, ball movement, more connected. Passes was on time, on target. Guys were stepping into it and really knocking down shots. Was able to, build some momentum, some energy, and just kept it rolling. Started getting a little bit of stops and rebound, and that allowed us to get back into it.
Was that the formula? That's got to be the formula coming back home again.
It worked. So yeah.
John, how important is it going to be to swing that momentum when you guys get back to Memphis for the next two? And where's the belief in terms of getting back in this series overall?
Yeah, it's a series. You can't never too high or too low about anything. You got to go home and take care of business. You got to ride the wave of the home crowd and protect home court and have that confidence and that swag. No matter what it was here, you would have had to do that. So the mentality is just aggression, straightforward, and get home. Yeah, I mean it is tough, but that's the game. It's a game of runs. We got to come out and punch first. I mean that's 2 times in a row that they hit us first, and it's tough to climb up an uphill battle on the road time and time again. So we got to hit first at home.
Des, first, what you guys seem to turn a corner in that third quarter. That was your best quarter of the series so far. What went right in that third quarter? And then secondly, how do you guys get some of the role players on your team that sort of match their depth?
Just our fight. I thought our fight was there. If you have that, you have a chance. And like I said, I got confidence in everybody, and we're all going to step up and play better.
And to give themselves a chance, Matt Infield, they do have to play like they did in that third quarter. They were not intimidated. They put the pressure. They took it to Oklahoma City. We saw Jaren Jackson Jr., after having just 4 points and 3 rebounds in the first game, come up and really take advantage of his size against not only Caruso, who was, the 6'4" guard trying to guard him and push him out of the paint, but also Hartenstein taking them both to the glass. And we got to see more of that out of Jaren and hit a few more outside shots from Dez. And Ja playing on that ankle is doing about the best he can. He had a pretty good game in that game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you look at the third quarter and just the games that, going back to game one, all 3 of them, I mean, call a spade. Jared and Dez were awful in game 1. Ja was okay, but pretty inefficient. Game 2 last night, Ja missed his first 7 shots, but then 10 of 18 after that. Jaren, like you said, that third quarter, he started being aggressive and assertive and looking like the all-NBA player that we thought he was going to be for the first 60 games of the season. Dez, 7 of 17, 19 points, 12 boards. But you finally saw all of them come alive a little bit at different times. The thing is, when the offense started clicking in the third quarter, they couldn't get any stops. And that is the problem that OKC presents is, okay, you got them figured out. You finally start scoring on that defense that we talk so much about. Well, they can come and give you buckets and trade baskets back and forth as well. So it's a really tough puzzle to solve, but obviously it starts with those 3, and you hope that you get back in this building. The role players, we think that the role players are going to play a little bit better at home in a place where they're more comfortable. So that is probably the hope for the Grizzlies to get back in the series starting tomorrow night.
And that's a big thing, Michael Wallace, there in Oklahoma City. You saw the role players for the Thunder. Of course, they've been great no matter where they played. They won the West by 16 games, I think. And if you look at it, the role players for the Grizzlies, when they get back home here in FedEx Forum and they get the towels waving and the fans get behind them, you got to think that that's going to be a boost the way it was against Dallas the other night in the play-in game. We've seen this team get energized, and we've seen those guys come off the bench and get some things done.
You have to. That's essential. Like even today, I mean, we're the morning after, the afternoon after Oklahoma City's 2 games have been played here, and you're still seeing their fan base running around in T-shirts, players' jersey numbers, and you're seeing different groups of, people together, hanging out in the park across the street from the arena. The festive atmosphere is still here. That can still happen at FedEx Forum, but it's going to take fans to kind of support this team, man. Like the issue that has been problematic for the Grizzlies in this game is that in these 2 games is that they've gotten off to sluggish starts. Oklahoma City has gotten off to better starts, and I think the home fan and the home crowd has a chance to boost you in that way. Now, those guys still have to build on that energy and go out there and execute. And that's going to be the key. You can't miss your first 10 shots You can't just back your way into a game. And again, the Grizzlies actually played the Thunder even. They only lost the second half by 1 point. They won the third quarter in game 2, 27-20. And the second half, they were outscored by only 1 point. So they found something. They believe they found something in the second half of this game, but it's going to show. It's going to have to prove that they have to start the way that they finished game 2.
Thing, Michael, and you were there. You saw it. I do believe that the Thunder really, really plays off that home crowd, the way that they were diving on the floor and the way that they were really getting after those loose balls. They were winning almost every 50-50 ball or loose rebound because sometimes they were in the right spot, but other times they just had that extra hustle quotient. And you were right there. You saw it with your own eyes in real time, and that's just amazing. And when it gets rolling, it starts rolling like thunder in that building.
Yeah, if I can, 2 plays stand out to me. And one of them we showed in the highlight package there where Caruso went to the floor and beat every Grizzly player down to the floor to get a steal in transition that led to a dunk. The other one was Chet Holmgren blocking. There you go right there. I mean, just going to the floor. There's no other Grizzly player even bending over. You got 2 Thunder players on the floor right there. That speaks volumes. The other play was when Chet Holmgren rejected a shot at the rim. I think he blocked Ja Morant or contested Ja Morant's shot at the end. Got a rebound, led the break, and went down the other end and had a putback dunk or something, or a three-pointer, but it was an energy play that showed you from end to end, they're playing with energy. And Alex Caruso said after the game last night that the difference in this series right now is that the Thunder are just playing hard. And when you're playing hard and you have your entire roster playing like that with that kind of effort, that's how you advance from the first round to the second round and get into the conference finals and possibly onto the NBA finals. Effort has to be part of the equation for the Grizzlies, and energy has to be part of the equation. And some of those things can be provided by playing at home, and we'll see on Thursday.
Definitely cannot be cruise control for the Grizzlies going out. They got to ratchet that thing up to 100 on the court, and so do the fans here at FedEx Forum. And, of course, we all know fans here in the Grindhouse, it can get crazy here on Beale Street when the Grizzlies start playing in postseason action. It's the time of the year for it. They had a big watch party the other night, and Grind City Media's Devin Walker was right there to capture the fans as they participated in the playoffs. Here's a look.
Yo, it's your boy Devin, reported back at it again. This time, I'm at Crosstown Concourse for the Grizzlies playoff watch party, kicking it with the dopest fans in the NBA. And I asked them, what's so dope about being a Grizzlies fan? There's so many reasons. Let's go find out. I'm here kicking it at the Grizzly watch party. How long have you been a Grizzly fan?
A long time, since they were at the Pyramid.
Pyramid, OG.
I say 2002, since they came to Memphis. I'm a recent Grizzlies fan.
Hey, recent is fine, bro, as long as you ride for the Jeep, bro, you know what I'm saying? I see you at the games every night. Yo, if y'all don't know, she is turned in the form, y'all. Turned in the form every night. How long have you been a Grizzly fan?
Oh, since I come to Memphis in 2003.
Another OG. What's your favorite part about being a Grizzly fan?
Just getting to meet new people, the crowd, the excitement, and fun going to a game.
It created a culture in Memphis to where everybody could come together on one thing and support, no matter like race, age, what you do. Everybody can come together and support the Grizzlies, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
We got the best hype in the NBA. Like, you can't beat what we bring to the game. So, hey, turn up. Let's go. Go Grizz.
Man, I gotta say, seeing Ja dunk every night, that's the best part. Even though he said he ain't gonna do it no more, I still love it.
Every day I wake up and I look at all my Grizzlies stuff, and I just think about how beautiful the city of Memphis is. Bro, Courtney Lee, Jared Bayless, Rudy Gay, Yuki Kawamura, every single Grizzlies player is a legend, certified.
Do you have a favorite memory as a Grizzlies fan?
When Adams was one end of the court and threw it to John in the corner, I was sitting in the seats right there where he was at, and he made that three as he was falling.
When Zach Randolph hit that game winner against the Spurs.
First game they won, I was there.
Ever?
Yeah, when they at the Pyramid, I danced with the cheerleaders because they won.
Nothing captures why I love Memphis like going to a Grizzlies playoff game when you see just people from different walks of life all screaming whoop that trick.
Can I get a go Grizz on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Go Grizz.
Go Grizz.
Go Grizz.
Go Grizz.
Go Grizzlies!
Like the kid with the telephone on his T-shirt. I guess he's getting ready to call 12. What do you think, Avery Braxton?
Bro, call 12 is certainly an appropriate action, but my guy pulled out the Courtney Lee.
Oh, man. Yeah,
I was like,
back.
oh, wow, that's a fan for real. You know, who can you really pull out of your Grizzly skeleton right there in the laurels of history, annals of history? I think it was an incredible atmosphere. Those watch parties are always fun, and that kind of shows those watch parties to me show you who the real fans are, because it's easy to like sit in the crib, right, and watch it from home.
Definitely easy to sit in the crib.
You really want that environment of being around community and other Grizz fans and being able to cheer on your team. That was really cool.
How long have you been here now, Matt? And of course, you're coming here from Long Island, New York.
Coming up on almost 3 years. It was like 3 years ago that you guys hired me, I think. Yeah, give or take. And I got here June 2022.
All right, so you've had a chance to you at least had one playoff series in there before the injury-riddled season from last year. So you've seen it, and you've been here how long, Avery?
It'll be 4 years in October.
4 years. So you both have had a chance to see it, and it is unlike any other place in the league. I'm just so happy to be born and raised here. My wife and I have been season ticket holders, as I've said many times, since the beginning. So we had 4 seats in the pyramid up in the upper deck when the kids were still at home, and we got all the lint from all those first towels that they had, and they had to stop the game to clean them up because those towels were fresh out. And so that was Hugh B. Brown when he won Coach of the Year, and it was just absolute craziness in there. But they went 3 straight playoff series, sweep, as in the Grizzlies getting swept. When they finally won a playoff series, it was in this building. And so this is when you talk about, man, the feeling, it's palpable when they come back. It doesn't matter what happened on the road, because they had a series against the Clippers. They were down 0-2 and got blown out in the first game, came back in the second game and lost a tight one, and then came here and then won out. And that's one of those things that the fans got to remember. It ain't over till it's over. And Michael Wallace, you've seen a bunch of playoff series with several different teams, and you've seen some playoff series here. You got a memory that stands out to you in FedEx Forum as the Grizzlies in the playoffs?
Yeah, no question about it, man. And it goes back to the 2015 playoffs and kind of being behind the scenes. I was covering the NBA with ESPN at that time. And, that was the Mike Conley came back from the broken face. He had the mask on, and it was game 3 against the Golden State Warriors. And the Grizzlies took a 2-1 series lead. And I remember Steve Kerr in his post-game press conference basically say, hey, we got to go back to the drawing board and figure everything out. And this was before, this was right as the Golden State Warriors won that series and went on and won a championship. They were on the climb right there to what became a 4-championship dynasty for them. But the Grizzlies put that initial doubt in that Golden State Warriors team when they came here, lost game 3 and was down 2-1. And it was the whoop that trick. It was the, Tony Allen running all around the court doing crazy things. First team all defense came from that series. It was just a lot of energy and excitement with the Grizzlies, and I remember that vividly.
Give a shout out to Zebo against the LA Clippers in that series, the hated LA Clippers back when they were hated. They had Blake Griffin, who's on all kind of commercials now and is doing well, good for him. But the one where he choked out Blake when they went to the floor going after a loose ball and then I think he got ejected and he took his headband off and threw it in the crowd. And you talk about an arena erupting. That's what we can have here in Memphis. You let these guys fool around and get close to this Thunder team in the fourth quarter. We could see some of that again. And who knows, the magic could happen right again at 191 Beale Street coming up at 8:30 on, what is that, tomorrow night? When's that game? Tomorrow night, right here. Yeah, it's coming up real fast, so you got to get ready. And so now it's time for us to get ready to start our clock for the 24-second validation. It's a new feature here on Grizz Beat where we give each guy 24 seconds to say what they think and make a good, concise case for it in 24 seconds before the shot clock goes off. And this week's question, the biggest lesson the Grizzlies should learn from this Thunder series is, what is the biggest thing the Grizzlies can learn from this Thunder series? And we will start off with Avery Braxton from ABC 24. CJ, you ready to start the clock? We start the clock now.
The biggest thing the Grizzlies can learn from this Thunder series is you have to start fast and you have to take care of business from the get-go. You can't allow yourself to kind of meander and lazily get yourself into a game. OKC Thunder have come in. They've punched first in each one of these first 2 games. And because they've punched first, they haven't allowed the Grizzlies to get off the mat. And by the time they do, it's almost too late. I got 2 seconds left to spare.
Oh, man, you knocked that out. And there's the buzzer. He got it off and got it in. That is Avery Braxton. I hear you. Let's go to Matt Infield from Action News 5. Big Dog, the question, the biggest lesson the Grizz can learn from this OKC series is Start the clock.
The Thunder were on an upward trajectory to begin with. I think the thing that has really helped take them over the top this season, adding Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso. I think Zach Kleiman had the right idea a couple years ago, adding some vets. Marcus Smart, Derrick Rose, obviously the execution of it didn't totally work out. They kind of doubled down on youth this season. I think it's showing itself in the series. Zach Kleiman, get in the lab this offseason, go get some more vets, a la Hartenstein and Caruso, and that could help take the Grizzlies over the top.
All right, there's Matt Infield coming right up to the buzzer. Let's go out to Oklahoma City, where Michael Wallace has been contemplating this question. You got 24 seconds on the clock. Michael Wallace, what is the biggest thing the Grizzlies can learn from this OK series? Go.
Value the basketball. There is no way you can win an NBA playoff series giving up 20-plus points on a regular basis off of turnovers. You're mitigating your own offense. You're stopping yourself. A lot of them are self-inflicted wounds. And when you combine that with a Thunder team that is lethal, they're like Doberman on the perimeter, you have to protect the basketball.
On the road, he came up and knocked it down from 35 feet. I guess 470 miles, actually.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, Michael Wallace. All right, my turn. What do I think is the biggest thing the Grizzlies can learn? Go ahead and start the clock, CJ. I have to agree with everybody. I can't say anything that you, Avery Braxton, have said, you, Matt Enfield, and, of course, Michael Wallace all the way over in Oklahoma City. Valuing the basketball is key. But also what you learn is Zach Edey, let's get a good look at him. He's getting a good look of the intensity level, ratcheted up in the playoffs. I think that's a big thing that the Grizzlies can take away from this as the buzzer goes off. Yes, sir. All right, that's it for the first quarter here on Grizz. When we come back, we'll go around the league and talk a little bit about some of the other series going on in the association. Stay with us right here on Grizz.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
I did a video and I thought it was pretty funny, and I said, well, I'm gonna post it on TikTok and see what it does. You know, we watched Alabama beat Miami. We had no idea that the video was blowing up the whole time we were beating Miami, or we would have kept doing it. Yeah. So I told Tide roll. The Tide, tell them we'll Tide roll, baby. That's what they do.
We always gonna get beat because you cannot mess with the Tide.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal and saying, it's ridiculous. You got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Hey fans, the stage is set for the M. Experience every towel-waving moment of Memphis Hoops history with 2025 Grizzlies playoff tickets for Round 1, Game 3, when the Grizzlies battle the Oklahoma City Thunder right here in Memphis Thursday, April 24th at FedEx Forum. Playoff tickets are on sale now at Grizzlies.com. The Grizzlies 2025 playoffs are presented by FedEx and Orion Financial. We come back in studio and we talk about it's award time in the association now. The NBA ready to hand out its postseason awards, and the first up is the Rookie of the Year award, and that we've got one Grizzly that is in the finalists for Rookie of the Year, and that rookie is, of course, Jaylen Wells. He started 74 of 79 games for the Grizzlies that he played, and of course he got hurt out there in Charlotte. What a bummer, broke his wrist and was done for the season right at the end of the season. He ended averaging 10.5 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.7 assists per game for his rookie season. He was named Western Conference Rookie of the Month for the month of October-November. That's to start the season, but played very solidly the rest of the year. And he led all rookies in team wins with 47 and starts at 74, and that's for a rookie second-round pick, and made threes at 138. And someone named Michael Wallace said he might be the best three-point shooter on the team way back right as training camp was coming to an end. But Jaylen Wells wore that number 0 proud. He even had a 30-point game out in his hometown of Sacramento earlier this season, where I think he was 7 of 8 from three-point range and just did a lot of things. A solid, competent player for a guy who was a second-round pick, Avery Briggs.
Yeah, 100%. Talking to Jaylen this year, he's one of those guys, he's just nothing gets him too high, doesn't get too low. He kind of gets that from his dad. I had a chance to interview him this year, and Mr. Wells and Jaylen Wells are one and the same. But the thing that really amazed me about Jaylen this year was nothing about what he did this year surprised him. Nothing about what he did this year was like,
even though it surprised all of us.
It surprised all of us, but it was none of it was unexpected to him. And listening to his journey, he tends to just come into a space, kind of analyze it, understand what he has to do, right, and then just goes and takes it. And nobody took that starting role away from him throughout the entirety of the season. We thought Gigi might do it. We thought Vince might do it. It took an injury to get Jaylen Wells off the floor this year. He was a phenomenal defender all season long, taking on the best in the NBA. And when it came time for him to score, he was able to do it. He was always ready for his moment. So Jaylen, I mean, shout out to him. He really earned his salute this year. He was really good. And if he gets that Rookie of the Year, I don't know if it'll be his, but he would certainly deserve it.
It's really something, Matt Infield, his journey from Sacramento State, a junior college, to Washington State. And then the Grizzlies decided, let's take a chance on this kid and see what he can do. And he comes in here, and they couldn't get him out of the lineup.
Yeah, I don't know that anyone expected this from a second-round pick, number 39 overall, when they took him last year, but really just made an immediate impact. I think he was in the starting lineup 5 games into the season or something like that when Marcus Smart first got hurt. And yeah, just like really kind of solid and competent and fills everything, like is the perfect kind of role player, and role player has a bad connotation to it, but it's really a good thing when you're around Ja Morant, Jared Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bane. But he's like the perfect piece next to those guys. Great perimeter defender. I think they could really use him in this series in particular. They're really missing him right now. Good three-point shooter. Showed you a little bit of sauce off the dribble as well. And that's someone that just has the mindset that I think he's going to continue to get better and better and better. So I think that obviously, like we talked about, it all starts with the big three, but I think that Jaylen, without a doubt, entrenched himself as one of the core foundational pieces of this team moving forward as well.
And Michael Wallace out there in Oklahoma City, I mentioned to you earlier, you said that, hey, this kid's got the best stroke on the team, and he's proven that he really does. And that, but did you know that his demeanor, his demeanor never changed? I only saw him smile one time, and that was when he got a big steal at the end of one of those games before he got hurt to clinch a Grizzlies victory. But did you think that he would be that kind of player, not just, a wing shooter that they could call on maybe, for situationally?
No, I don't think any one of us could have predicted that he was going to have this kind of impact. We knew he had the potential, we knew he had the size and the skill set, but putting it all together with the right temperament in this league, that goes a long way. I told him early on in the season, I said, man, you're one of the most closed, mature rookies that I've ever been around and covering this league for 25 plus years. And I don't toss that around lightly, but he has all of those gifts there. But then when you look at where he is and where he's not in this series, and you see what Aaron Wiggins is doing, you're seeing Isaiah Joe, you're seeing guys like Casey Wallace and what they're doing for the Thunder in their roles. It reminds you just how valuable Jaylen, is to the Grizzlies, because they don't have a player like that that's impacting the series. When you don't have Brandon Clark and Jaylen Wells, that tells you, a lot right there. So depth is another thing, but he provides that. He's going to get better. Once he works on taking people off the dribble and his off the dribble game, his drive game, there's going to be no stopping Jaylen Wells moving forward.
Well, he's going to try. He's going to give it all he's got on the defensive end. Zachary Ricochet and Stephon Castle are the other two that's up for the award. The favorite is Stephon Castle with the Spurs because he is just one hellacious athlete, and he's played really well this year. Ricochet is making a strong push late because he's still on the court while Wells is absent, but Wells has been up there among the top three all year. So you give a shout out and a salute to Jaylen Wells. Let's hope, maybe he'll win it. But Castle's the favorite, but at least he's up there for the Grizz. And you got to think that Zach Edey's going to be first team on the all-rookie first team as well. So that bodes well for the Grizzlies. But as we move along in the awards now, they did give out the Sixth Man of the Year award, and that goes to the one I predicted last week, Peyton Pritchett of the Boston Celtics. I believe he comes from Oregon, where he played against the University of Memphis back a few years ago in one of those games that was set up for TV, and he showed his wares then, being able to shoot the long ball, and he is at the perfect team for him, Avery Braxton, to be able to just jack up threes whenever you want. They shoot 50, 60 a game.
Yeah, if you want to shoot the three ball, the Boston Celtics are the perfect team for you to be on because they don't care who's doing it as long as they do it well.
As long as it goes in.
As long as it goes in. They've got so many guys who can do it. But yeah, Peyton Pritchard has really been phenomenal shooting the three ball. But he kind of comes in and he's one of those guys where I think he could start on a lot of teams, right? He's in a scenario where he's on a really, really good basketball team. He's playing behind some fantastic stars, but when he comes in the game, he is a phenomenal impact, not only with his shooting, but his ability to control the pace of a game. And with his defense as well. So I think he's been really good.
And you take a look now at some of the other awards finalists that have been announced. Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, and Nikola Jokic for the Clutch Player of the Year. It won't be the last time you see Jokic's name up there. Other awards finalists, Defensive Player of the Year, Dyson Daniels from the Hawks, Draymond Green from the Golden State Warriors, and Evan Mobley from the Cavs. This might be a tougher one than we think. I'm still going to put my money on Evan Mobley. Dyson Daniels made a little play there. And Most Improved Player, you got Cade Cunningham from the Most Improved Pistons. That was a tremendous turnaround from 14 wins to 45. Dyson Daniels again for Most Improved Player. And then Ivica Zubac from the Clippers. And that's got to be a tough one. I think Zubac has played really well, and the Clippers are looking strong here in the postseason. Coach of the Year, Kenny Atkinson from Cleveland, J.B. Bickerstaff from Detroit, and Ime Udoka from the Rockets. I'm thinking Bickerstaff, but I'm thinking it may go to Atkinson. I don't know. Really quick, what do you guys think?
On all of them or just this one? This one I've had Kenny Atkinson basically the entire year, but I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, I would say probably Bickerstaff for me. I think the turnaround that you mentioned, Jarvis, has just been incredible. But what Kenny Atkinson's done with the Cleveland Cavaliers has been really great too.
And Udoka's done a tremendous job, and he's really got some toughness instilled with the Rockets. But I think what they've done is just tremendous. What JB and a former Grizzlies coach, as a matter of fact, MVP. Here it is: Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Bucks, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You know where he is, Oklahoma City, and of course Jokic. It's between Shai and Nikola Jokic, and it's going to be Shai. I mean, what else can you say?
I'll say this, though, and obviously it's a regular season award, and at the end of the regular season, I thought it was Shai. This series has kind of made me rethink that a little bit.
It ain't up to the series, though.
I know, I'm just saying, but you see what the Thunder have done, and Shai really hasn't played that well. I mean, they won by 51 in game one, and he had his worst game of the season. I'm just saying, if Jokic has his worst game of the season in this series against the Clippers, the Nuggets are getting blown out by 40. So I don't know. I mean, I think Shai, for what he did over the 82 games, deserves it. But what I've seen in the first two games of this Thunder Grizzlies series has made me think at least a little bit about it.
I think a little bit, but don't think too long.
Shai's going to win.
Study long, you study wrong. All right, let's talk about now. There's a series that's out there on the interwebs called Out the Mud, and that is Zach Randolph and the Grindfather himself have a podcast out there that they talk to several NBA players around the league, and they talk to their old teammate Marc Gasol, who made an appearance on the Out the Mud broadcast or podcast rather, and had some interesting to say things to say about, when it's time, it's time. The Grizzlies, that group, the old grit and grind Grizzlies, basically got old. They were aging out, and the Grizzlies had to make a move, and it was time to start, moving players. They traded Marc Gasol to the Toronto Raptors. That worked out great for the Raptors, but they ended up getting, some help back. But, Marc was on the program with Zebo and Tony, and here's what Marc had to say.
Talk about Memphis, man, and, talk about how you felt leaving Memphis. Because you did so much in the community.
I know.
With St. Jude, with everything. Having to just talk about just how hard was it having to leave a place that you
I fought
home.
for it. Yeah, I fought for it. I was fighting back. I knew it was on. Once you two guys were gone, I knew I was next. I was done. Like, I had no meaning here. Like, I had to move on from this place to allow the next generation to move up and improve, right? But that's a hard thing to accept. Like, we built this. Like, I don't want to leave my house that I built. I still can help you. But sometimes you're your worst enemy, like, because you fight against yourself a lot of times, and your desire to do certain things is gonna, be kind of productive with the younger guys because they don't understand. There's a gap between their development and where you at in life. So the Grizzlies did great for me. Like, they say, okay, like, we're gonna try to find you a contender. They found a good one, a really good one in Toronto. Really good team. They just needed the extra piece that was going to put them over the top, and they sent me there. There. It broke my heart a little bit, to be honest. Like, if it was up to me, I would have stayed in Memphis my whole career, and even though it probably would have meant that I would never get a championship, but I would have stayed in Memphis for sure.
Talk about.
Yeah, that's really something when you listen to him talk about that. And he's right. If he'd have stayed here, they couldn't have any assets to build a new team. They had to use Marc as an asset to build a new team, which took a while, but, they got back into the playoffs with this new, instead of grit and grind, it's now Grizz Next Gen. But it's really interesting to see from a player's point of view, especially one that, Marc spent his high school years here in Memphis when his brother Powell came over as a top draft pick for the Grizzlies. And, when you look at it that way, it's like, yeah, man, you don't want to leave your home, but sometimes you got to go away for the home to flourish.
Yeah, change is necessary for growth, right? And I think that's what you kind of always see, not just in basketball, but in life. And unfortunately for Marc in that situation, you're in a scenario where you are the key linchpin that's kind of holding everything up, even though you are that franchise essentially up until that point.
Yeah, he was the last one. He was the
traded
last Zebo, and they'd already let TA
go.
So yeah,
that's tough, and I think it's especially tough for Marc because he's from here, right? And you mentioned that he spent his high school years here. So much of what he was doing to give back. Tony Allen mentioned St. Jude and how much that organization meant to him and all those things. So it was home more than it was just a basketball team. But to Marc's credit, like, he goes and gets traded to the Toronto Raptors. And you win a championship, right? So
and he gets to be drunk like a monkey on the stand up there.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to let go of the thing you love so that you can get the thing that you ultimately desired, and that was a championship for him. But kudos to him, man, because he still comes back here and he gives so much.
Oh yeah, he definitely does. And I mean, you were not here for when Marc Gasol was here at Matt Infield, but you saw the effect that he had on the city and the team, and then going to Toronto and closing that out was a good chapter. Basically, the Grizzlies, everybody that they've traded away, they put them in good positions, and they got good pieces back.
It is kind of striking to hear him say that he would have essentially traded his championship to finish out his career in Memphis, because that's not something that I'm sure he says lightly. But you think about that whole year of 2019, they trade Marc to Toronto, and then they had Mike on the roster still, but they traded Mike that summer, and obviously that's the year that they drafted Ja Morant. So 2019, really kind of a seminal year of transition for the Grizzlies. I also think it was probably good to have Marc here for the beginning of Jaren Jackson Jr.'s tenure with the Grizzlies, his rookie year, help get him up to speed, learn some of the tricks of trade a little bit. But yeah, that year changed a lot for this franchise, and obviously got Marc a ring, which is something he was after for a while.
And Michael Wallace, have you seen guys be that honest about, when they get traded from one organization to another, especially one that, Marc said he built his house here and he wanted to stay here. Have you seen that kind of loyalty and kind of a tear in the eye when you got to leave?
Yeah, but I also was on the team bus with Marc Gasol right before he got traded, and he wanted out. Right, I remember, it had gotten so frustrating for him to see the team kind of slip into mediocrity, and he's a winner. He has a winning mindset. He was getting older, and he knew that his time to win a championship was short. So as much as it sounds good to say, hey, I would trade in this championship ring to have finished out my career here, I think those are just pleasantries. As a matter of fact, I know that's not true because Marc Gasol wanted to bring everything about him and the Grizzlies to Toronto. That's the reason why he put G&G engraved that inside that championship ring, because it was about grit and grind from Memphis, and that allowed them to bring that to Toronto. So he can have the best of both worlds, and he certainly does have the best of both worlds right now. He's a part of a championship that Toronto won and may never win again, and he's bringing those things back to Memphis every single chance he gets to tell his stories the way he does.
Yeah, and really quickly, his brother quietly asked for a trade to a contender, Powell, and because he knew that it was not going to happen for him here at that time, it brought in Marc. So everything worked out the way it worked out. So let's move on now and talk. Where are we going right now? Playoff bracket, that's right. Yeah, there it is right there on the screen. Let's see. What is the most interesting series to you guys right now? What do you think? There's some really good series out there, and I think that the Clippers and
Matt Infield is from New York City, so I have a pretty good idea of what series you like the most.
I mean, that series just gives me frustration right now because the Knicks have been outplayed for 7 of 8 quarters against the Pistons, and they need to activate Big Cat because 10 points in a playoff game is not enough. But you mentioned before, brother, I need 13 games of Clippers Nuggets. I mean, that series has been incredible so far. What Kawhi Leonard did the other night, talk about that 2019 Raptors team. Man, he turned back the clock. What do you have? 39 points on like 15 of 19 from the field.
18,
just ridiculous performance. And obviously, the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, in that series as well. So 1-1 going back to LA. I need at least 7 games of that. And if they want to extend the series beyond that, I'm cool with it as well.
Yeah, I gotta agree, man. The Clippers Nuggets series is far and away the best one. I think the Timberwolves Lakers one is interesting just because of the jawing back and forth, the extracurriculars we keep getting out of LA and Timberwolves with Ant-Man saying, they're the Lakers, they're supposed to win, right? We're just gonna keep plugging away.
What else
and then he said something that I probably can't repeat on these airwaves to a fan that got him fined. But those things that are coming out of that series has made it really, really interesting beyond just the basketball because there've been blowouts on either side. But I think that one's been the most fun, although 4-5 on the basketball floor, Nuggets, Clippers has been the best.
I'm kind of looking at that Golden State Rockets series just because that could have been us. That could have been us in there.
Well, could have been, brother.
And the Rockets are young, and Golden State's experienced, and that's what we're seeing so far. Let's move on real quick. Damian Lillard returned to the Bucks lineup after that vein thrombosis thing he had, which is scary. I mean, do you come back and play after that? The doctors gave him the okay clear. He missed the first game of the series, but was back for the second. And Lillard, he had a couple of things to say about that coming back from the blood clots, but he's back playing for them. But so far, it's not helping. Is it going to help him?
I don't know. It just feels like it might be a little too late when it comes to that. I mean, the series itself is still early on, but I think for a player like that to be away for so long and kind of having to gear your body back up to be in a position to really, really help your team, Damian Lillard's a consummate professional, incredible basketball player. I don't know. I think he'll help a little bit, but I think the Pacers have a
and
pretty
Matt
solid
Infield,
handle.
another injury update. Jason Tatum is doubtful for the Celtics in their series. Of course, the Celtics are playing the Heat, and that injury report, Tatum is a right distal radius bone bruise, big doubtful. Is that going to matter?
Magic, yes, but
Magic here. I'm sorry, yeah.
I don't know, because game 1 of that series was interesting for a little bit, and then the Celtics kind of hit the gas pedal and drove away. I just think that as good as I think Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero are an awesome duo together, the Magic really struggle to score the ball, though. So I think that in this series, I think the Celtics, if Tatum missed a game or 2 games or whatever, could probably put up enough points without him to survive. But if it's beyond that, we'll see.
All right, we shall see what we shall see. When we come back on Grizzby, we'll wrap it up here with the week ahead. 2 games left in this series, maybe more. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll talk about that and an interview with John Morant. That's all coming up on Grizzby.
For shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Yesterday was the talk of the town. It was a cow on the side of the road.
Do you live close to a movie theater? I'm just curious because maybe the cow was trying to go to the movies.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I did a video and I thought it was pretty funny, and I said, well, I'm gonna post it on TikTok and see what it does. You know, we watched Alabama beat Miami. We had no idea the video was blowing up the whole time we were beating Miami, or we would have kept doing it. Yeah. So I told
Tide roll.
The Tide, tell them, Willie. Tide roll, baby. That's what they do.
We always gonna get beat because you cannot mess with the Tide.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
The new issue of Slam, the cover dropped, and it is our friend Jaren Jackson Jr. on the cover.
And shout out to you, Lane.
Yeah.
You kept, well, I mean, we knew about it, but you kept this a secret the whole time. So shout out to you for putting this together.
We did the photo shoot a couple weeks ago here on a Sunday afternoon in the practice court. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Junior Grizzlies basketball camps presented by Ortho South are back for their best summer yet. Register your 6 to 14-year-old hooper for one of our summer sessions to hone their skills and experience all the fun and excitement of an NBA team. Campers receive specialized training from Junior Grizzlies coaches and swag packs, including a reversible jersey, full-size basketball, beach towel, socks, and more. Registration open now for camps all around the Mid-South area, including Memphis, Jonesboro, Little Rock, and Tupelo, Mississippi. Thank you very much. Hey, take your game and your swag to the next level this summer. Register your youth player for any Junior Grizzlies summer camp presented by Ortho South during the month of April. You'll be entered to win an autographed Nike John 1 shoe. Wow. For more camp information, just go to grizzlies.com/Junior Grizzlies. You want to get in on that camp action, summer camp, always fun. As we're getting ready, school's going to be out in a couple of weeks here, folks. I know you guys aren't worried about it, but, I got grandkids. I'm picking them up, as a matter of fact, in just a few minutes after the program here. Let's take a look at the week ahead here on Grizzbeat. 2 games coming up this week, and possibly we got another one. Hopefully, we got 2 games right here in Memphis, Oklahoma City on Thursday, 8:30 at FedEx Forum, and then Game 4 of the series is Saturday afternoon at 2:30 p.m. And if you get one of those games, hopefully you can get them both. You guarantee yourself for another game at Oklahoma City on Monday. That'll be a 7:30 p.m. start if necessary. That's what it says. Let's hope it is necessary. And guys, I'm not going to ask you if you think we'll get that far. I'm just going to ask you, what do you think needs to happen in Game 3 coming up tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Avery Braxton, ABC 24.
Well, I think first you got to get better contribution from your bench in Game 3 and in Game 4. Ja, Dez, and Jaren combined for 68 of your 99 total points, right, in Game 2. So you get 14?
Doing what they're supposed to do.
Doing what they're supposed to do. So you really need a bigger contribution from your bench, and you cannot turn the ball over against this Thunder team, because once they get out in transition, their half-court offense is already good enough. You don't need to give them any easy opportunities in transition.
What say you, Matt Infield?
Avery stole the words out of my mouth. You got to take care of the ball. Yes, just like that. Because in basically every matchup this year between the Grizzlies and Thunder, the turnovers have been an issue. And the problem is the Thunder hardly ever turn the ball over. So when you turn the ball over and you fuel their fast break offense, big problems. And I don't know how long it's going to last, but if you can keep containing-ish Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think you give yourself a chance, especially if you play the way you did in the second half last night at home in the next 2 games.
Yeah, shout out to, once again, Scottie Pippen Jr. for the job that he has done on SGA. SGA is just an awesome player. He is just awesome. I mean, he's
for sure.
He is built like the perfect basketball player. What is he? 6'5", 6"?
He's 6'6". I was surprised to learn he's 6'6".
6'6", really long arm, that slim build, and he can jump and all those other kind of things. But it's like you can only hope to contain him. You can't shut him down.
He's been so good this season that you can't expect him to continue to shoot poorly throughout the entirety of a series. I mean, he gave you 27 last night, but he was 10 of 29 from the field. So as long as you can keep forcing him to shoot so much and then he continues to miss, you give yourself a shot. But that's a hard player to keep down the whole time.
Michael Wallace in Oklahoma City, I'm going to give you the last word on this subject. What say you?
I say, Jarvis, hey guys, the Grizzlies have to get off to a much stronger start. Make Oklahoma City play from behind. They hadn't played from behind this whole series, right, basically. And the Grizzlies missed their first 10 shots. Those were all, I would say 9 of those 10 were makeable shots. They were uncontested or relatively lightly contested shots that rimmed out, they came up short. I think the Grizzlies played with some jitters a little bit to start game 2. Get off to a great start in game 3 and get your crowd behind you, and then give Oklahoma City something to think about. Make Mark Daigneault call the first timeout so he can make an adjustment as opposed to doing it the other way around. So those are all things that the Grizzlies can do. All you guys hit the nail on the head as well too. And the players know it. And when you go in the locker room or you meet with these guys or you see them at the practices, they know what they need to do. Going out there and executing it is a different beast altogether. But I caught up with Ja Morant before game 2, and some of the things that the Grizzlies are still facing going into game 3 were still going on then. And Ja Morant had this to say about his thoughts and ideas about how to get back into this series.
It's a Grizz off-day work day here in the first-round series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm Michael Wallace, joined by Ja Morant. Ja, this is an important day in terms of getting some film, getting a walkthrough, going back through some of the mental reps that you guys have to do. How important was the communication today, asking questions, getting yourself in position to get ready for game 2?
It was, very important. But credit to Coach. He pretty much, answered most of the questions, in the introduction of, the film session. So for us, it, provided clarity, and then, we just went and executed it on the floor,
You talked about, this has to be a situation defensively where, hey, I got to get my brothers back, guard your yard, get your brothers back. That's going to be important going into this game after the adjustments. How did you process game 1 and just kind of getting into it but then dismissing it so you can just clear your mind for another shot Tuesday?
I mean, I think it just starts off with, what you can do better. I never feel like we ever play, a perfect game. Obviously, that game wasn't, our best at all, and it's rare, we play like that. So I feel like that was a lot of positive, but just corrected, everything I feel like we needed to. It was pretty much, our message today. Whether it's that, rebounding, being in, help for your brothers, or, taking care of the ball, offensive execution, we went through all that.
From Murray State going into the NCAA tournament to some of the early playoff series, you guys have had uphill battles before, and you've led teams into difficult moments from that standpoint. You've always maintained your confidence. What is it about you in these moments that seems to rise to the equation?
I just don't, put too much on it. Obviously, playoff series is, a 7-game series. I think in my career, I only won, pretty much one game 1. So I know, a series can turn around by that second game. So the message for me and the confidence for me is just, go out and get this next one. We pretty much got, 2 games to, get one on the road, and even the series out, going back, back home. So my confidence never lacks, no matter what situation I'm in, and just go out there and just be me.
And lastly, there's not many times where you, Desmond and Jaren have all been relatively healthy going into a playoff series like this. You guys have been together for 5+ years now. The continuity is there. How much are you guys relying on one another as brothers in this moment, both on and off the floor?
A lot. Obviously, you know, in previous, you know, series we had, you know, other guys that, you know, would be way more vocal and stuff, but now, you know, that's on us to be the leaders of this team. So, you know, we constantly talking, you know, with each other, saying what we need out there, what we need to do, and, you know, just making sure everybody's, you know, on the same page. Just being leaders, like we have to do that in order for us to, you know, be successful. So.
All right, the leadership is intact. The Grizzlies are focused for Game 2 on Tuesday night. Keep it locked on all of our Grizzlies playoff coverage on Grind City Media and Mem Grizz.
All right, we want to thank Michael Wallace for that excellent interview with Ja Morant. Avery Braxton from ABC 24. You got your growl towel ready?
I do. I don't have my growl towel ready because, you know, you got to get in the building for that. You know, you got to be there to get you one. But I just got one of the play-in towels, so I'll remember that one.
All right, how about you, Matt Infield?
I didn't steal any of the playing towels. I'll get my growl towel tomorrow night.
All
Game
right,
3.
well, I got all of mine, so I'm going to have them all out there. And I want to hear, I was listening today, some Rick Ross. I'm riding down Elvis Presley Boulevard. I got Priscilla. I want to see that. I want them to play that over the loudspeakers in the Forum. We can do that along with Whoop That Trick. We're going to see it at the Forum, 8:30, coming up on Thursday night. We want to see your face in the place. That's it for this edition of Grizz Beat. We'll see you next week, hopefully talking about Grizzlies victory. See you then.
That's game. Thanks for running with us for another episode of Grizz Beat. Join us each Wednesday at Grind City Media for all the latest insight and analysis on the Grizzlies.